Good evening, beautiful people of the great southern land, beautiful people of the world. It's Lucas and Star broadcasting live from the Ark and Dusty Boy as usual. Pumbaa, say hello, mate. Pumbaa, hey, Mr. Pumbaa, Mr. Pumbaa. What you doing? See, he's got the big bed positioned right in front of the fire, just chilling out. That's the place to be. As usual, you know Dusty by now. Starry, what are you doing? But yeah, anyway, an interesting afternoon of news, you know. The shenanigans are never ending. The, you know, the dramas, the action, it's always continuing. And, you know, I think we're just getting started. So don't worry, you won't be getting bored just yet. Hey, Adam. Hey, Johnny. And I've got a video here I'm going to show that I can't share it on Facebook because it doesn't have a link, but I'm going to play it through my other phone so you guys can see it. And it just goes, I think it's a guy in Canada, and he's talking about how the Canadian governments, and I don't know if it was somewhere here, I heard it from someone else as well. Apparently these people, these governments, are paying these farmers to destroy their crops, right? And increasing the taxes. If they continue to farm, they're going to increase the taxes basically so that they can't make a profit and they lose their money. So they really have no option but to shut down and destroy their crops, right? So we really are in the grips of a manufactured food shortage, right? And you couple that with the pestilence, the mice plagues, the fires, the floods, you know, the droughts. What more can there be, you know? Revelations is coming true. So, what is it, Star? So, yeah, I'm going to play this video, and then we're going to talk about the power outages that we've been saying are coming. You know, it's always exciting when something you say is going to happen happens, because it really, you know, it validates and it diminishes any idea that, oh, hey, you know, this guy's crazy, because we know that can't be true when everything that you know, people are saying is coming true. You know, how long is it a conspiracy theory when it's actually a fact and it's happening in real time? So, you know, possibly a coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidences. You know, everything happens for a reason. So now I'm going to play this guy, and you guys can think of it and have a watch and see what you think. And I'll set up some candles there in a pyramid fashion on my astrology table. I know that will kick off some rumours, so I'm pretty excited about the rumours that will be flying about that. I think it's best for the people if they have some illuminated people helping them at this time. I think they need the illuminated people, so probably best that you don't mock the people who are illuminated or have more information or more aware. You know, not that I'm an Illuminati or anything, but, you know, here we go. Watch this.
So me and my coworker got talking today, and something came up that I didn't really think about when my dad mentioned it to me. He's worked in the agriculture industry for over 40 years. This year, farmers are being offered 1.5 times the value of their crops to destroy them. They're also being told by the federal government they will not receive subsidies for farming if they refuse to destroy their crops. What does that mean? That means that the farmer cannot afford to provide you with food based upon the taxes the government is levying on him if the government doesn't in turn give him back his tax money to provide you with food. Kind of a fucked up system, but that's how it works. And, well, they're not going to subsidize them if they don't destroy the crops. They'll pay them more than what it's worth, and they want them to destroy it, and they'll still get their subsidies. They're trying to create a food shortage. We've got 8 months to get our own food supply. We're probably going to be facing mass starvation. Good luck.
Yeah, so that's a video was just sent to me. He didn't say where it was from. I'll have to do a bit more research into it. But yes, pre-state of emergency. And, you know, obviously the public officers and all that have been practicing for the last sort of 14, 15 months due to the COVID thing, practicing the lockdowns and the hard lockdowns. And, you know, remember last year, you know, the COVID-19 restrictions start slow and then they ramp right up, yeah? As the cases grow, oh, well, you know, we've got to, you know, take more measures. But it's all right for businesses to run. It's okay for the public officers to be out there potentially spreading this alleged thing. If there was something to be spread, they would be the prime suspects of the spreading, because they would be the ones who are, you know, they're the public officers I'm talking about. They're the ones who go from one person or group of people to the other group of people. So they're like the carriers. If there was an actual virus, the public officers who are stopping people and doing all this stuff are actually the potential carriers for the alleged virus. So, you know, is it really about a virus? Never has been, has it? Yeah. Never ever has it been about what they say it's been about. But anyway, they've given good practice to the military and the police and all the other public officers and all of the nurses and stuff who had nothing to do for the last 12 months. They're going to be pretty busy. Crematoriums are going to probably be pretty busy because they're going to have to cremate all the people who have got the jab, because you can't have that stuff getting out. You know, once you've got the jab, you know, that's... you sort of got to be cremated, yeah? You don't want to have that virus on the earth after it. Anyway, hey Tanya, thanks for tuning in. Hey Kathy. Hey Zoe. Kathy's saying complete economy collapse. Yeah, absolutely. Complete economy collapse is imminent. And then we're going to have the supply chains. You know, once the power grids go out, like they did in Queensland. So I think they had about 470,000. That's what the headlines say. You can never believe the headlines on the mainstream media, but 400,000 or so homes without power. Luckily, the councils were there to get backup generators to the sewage plants. Imagine not having sewage, like not being able to flush your toilet. Can you grasp the gravity of just that one issue alone with regards to your health? If you're in a home and you can't flush that toilet, yeah, pretty serious stuff, right? And that's just one thing, yeah. So just remember, when you're stocking up on food and stuff, forget about stuff that you're going to freeze, all right? Forget about freezer foods and stuff you're going to store in your fridge. You need stuff you can store without the freezer and without the fridge, yeah? Because when you got no power, you got no freezer and you got no fridge, right? So anyway, Sarah says, what's your thoughts on what all us woke people do? I don't know how many woke people are actually woke. I think there's a lot of people who think they're woke who aren't woke, but people need to create communities and basically be able to sustain themselves. You know, you've got to have a self-contained community that can sustain itself. That's literally what you need or will need living off the grid. Yeah, absolutely. So I was watching this woke woman talking the other day about how real men chase money and all this stuff. I think a real man knows how to survive in times where there's no computer, right? A real man can survive in his environment without the needs of a computer and numbers on a screen, because what happens if there's no electricity? Well, that man all of a sudden becomes without value. If all his manhood comes from the numbers on the screen, he's got no more value, you know? And I hear these woke people talking about men with money, and it's like, if that's what you're interested in, you're just chasing money, right? I'm getting off topic anyway, but if you're a man, you need to be able to know how to survive off the land. Yeah, that's what makes a man. And that's what I believe in the traditional times is what makes a man. When you become from a boy to a man, you go out into the bush and you learn to live and survive, you know, and that's what makes a man, not how much money you have. But yes, certainly need to start building the communities. And I do have a couple of people asking to come here. I don't have much to offer. Yeah, camping is pretty much what you'll get. And, you know, because we need to build from scratch, you know. Unless you're fortunate enough to find somewhere where you can walk into a pre-existing place, I don't know. But yeah, don't expect anything except, you know, hard work and cold nights. living off the land, at least during winter. But if you survive it, then you're probably going to be doing better than probably about 80-90% of the population by the end of it, at the end of a few years' time, probably, at the end of a few years. And if they shut off the power and there's a supply chain breakdown, well, you're going to lose a hell of a lot of the population really quick. And if you remember, apparently, Mad Max was set in 2021, but we're in 2021 now. So, you need communities because, you have strength in numbers and you need communities and people you can trust, right? So now's the time to be getting your boot full of your food, keeping your tank half full, knowing where you're going to go. Yep. And that's sort of it. You really need to be in a community. You've got to, if you haven't done the test yet, what's your house like without power? Turn your power off for 24 hours, literally, and see what you need and if it's viable for you to be able to live there, without power. Because if the power goes out for a prolonged period of time, let's say like apparently this power station that had a fire in it, let's say that was worse than what it was, and those people were without power and that station couldn't get up and running again, for a month or 2 months. Like you got 500,000, 400,000 homes, so probably 800,000 people to 1 million people without power. That's a pretty big deal. So and that can happen like that, yeah. So you've got to be prepared. And I've been trying to get people to be prepared for quite a while. Off-grid and solar, exactly right, Sarah Hyde. You can get those solar packs online. You get a thing called an arc pack, and you stick a battery inside it, and you get a lead and a solar panel, and you've got power to you can connect lights to it. LED lights take bugger all electricity, and all that sort of thing. My whole house is run off solar panels and LED strip lights, and I have a car fridge which I use, and that's it. So I've got a few batteries and stuff, but yeah, it's interesting times. Good evening, Cindy. Thanks for tuning in. Kylie says, like a private society. Yeah, I mean, it's just, call it whatever you want. I think it's a group of people who will be coming together through necessity. I don't think anyone, I know no one, because I've offered, I know no one's coming here or going anywhere because they want to. No one's leaving the comforts of their home and their heater to go and live, in a tent or under a tarp to do it tough because they want to. They're doing it because they have to. So a private society or whatever community, yeah, but you need to have a group of people with a common interest being survival and surviving and thriving, yeah, in a society that is like-minded, yeah, and able to trustworthy, trust each other, and so, luckily I've had a few good people coming in along the way, so I know who's trustworthy and all that sort of thing. Bar to pay no taxes to these parasitic murderers. John says bar to pay no taxes to these parasitic murderers. Yep. Ollie says look up primitive techniques on YouTube, how to build shelter out of trees and mud. And that's really simple stuff too, like it, to build those structures, and it's a really good idea, Ollie. Thanks for mentioning it. And people can download things off YouTube and also get books on that sort of stuff. But building huts and there's so many ways of creating, and there's a lot of clay here and a lot of stuff to build with. What else have we got going on? Power outages, supply chain shutdowns coming. It's really you got the 5G, the high flea microwaving, the geoengineering, the stuff they're spraying. the martial law or the solitary confinement they call lockdowns, the face grenades, the biotech, nanotech biological chemical warfare they're using. You know, it's a real interesting time to be alive, and kind of exciting, you know. It's the end of one system and the beginning of another, right? This is the time where human beings basically get to take back their sovereignty, right? And sovereignty requires work. Freedom requires work, yeah? It's the meltdown of the system that has been propping up the system which people are relying on. So now people are going to have an opportunity to be truly sovereign and truly free and actually know what that means and experience that. And, you know, it's a beautiful thing. And through challenges and hard times comes growth and wellness, you know, and knowledge and unity, yeah. Through the hardest times is when people come together and unite, right? Like, and I don't think it's about battling. I don't think it's about fighting. It's about uniting and growing and thriving. Yeah, it's about building that system outside of the system. And there may be no choice in some respects for some people. So, you know, that it'll come down to like homeschooling, yeah, and unschooling and all that sort of thing, where you take your kids out of those military government indoctrination camps they call schools, and, you know, teach them yourselves and let them learn themselves, and it's a whole new way of life, right? So it's a really interesting time to be alive. Alcoa and Geelong closed and completely demolished, but the furnaces have not. Yeah, we'll probably need those furnaces, mate. Yeah, thanks, Lauren. Yeah, you know, I was just looking at that going, oh, I think, you know, the one that this person I knew put up on, like, false news. But anyway, you know, everyone's got the right to make their posts, and I did make a comment on it, but it got deleted. And the other ones I put on didn't get responded to. But anyway, you know, each to their own, and they'll soon find out, you know, what it really is. And when everything collapses, if everything collapses, you know, worst case scenario, but the way it's looking is there's no other alternative. So, yeah. So, I guess it's time to start building the community and getting things together, and if people want to donate and start building this thing, then there's no time like the present, right? You know, it's there's no point waiting until the final day and then rocking up and going, well, I don't really have anywhere to sleep, and it's like, well, you had your opportunities to get that organised before today, so what were you doing? You know what I mean? Let's be realistic. So I guess maybe we'll see what the weather's like on the weekend. Maybe I'll have a bit of a gathering on the weekend or something. I'll check the weather. Where's my phone? Let's have a look at the weather. Oh, it's 18:18. 18:18, yep, there we go. 9:9. Seeing a lot of nines lately. That's a lot of endings, right? Oh, this phone's been pretty slow. Crown says, getting back to basics, simplicity, stop using their system. Yep. Look, I mean, people aren't going to have a choice the way I see it. The way I think, if it plays out the way I think it's going to play out, like, there's not going to be, at least for a period of time, there's not going to be a system that people can be using, you know? Because remember, this isn't about money. You know, this has got nothing to do with money. This is biblical. This is spiritual. This is about removing, about recycling and transmuting energy. Yeah, getting rid of old life to bring in new life. Right. This is bigger than money. Money is just a control system to control the population. That's all money is about, manipulating and controlling. Yeah, it's to keep people. It's just a religion to keep people in that state of control. What's the weather going to be this weekend? Weather forecast. Talbot. One moment. Because you don't want your first experience here to be like raining and wet, but, you know, sometimes that's what happens. Oh, Saturday sunny, Sunday sunny. So maybe this weekend we'll have a bit of a fire, bit of a gathering. Right, Saturday and Sunday are the only clear days for the next 14 days. How about that on the forecast? So maybe Saturday and Sunday it's going to be 14 degrees and 13 degrees. Going to get down to -1 degree and -2 degrees. It's going to get down to at night, so it's going to be cold. So if you come up, bring very warm stuff. Who wrote they don't like camping? They're too old. You don't have to camp if you don't want. You know, you do whatever you want to do. You know, that's how it rolls. It's a free will universe. Sarah, where do I live? I live at the Ark Sanctuary, so I'm out near Ballarat, not too far from Ballarat, but I'm in the Ark Sanctuary of Terra Australis. Yeah, Kathy, you're exactly right. She's talking about the jab for children. So if a child is at school on the day they're administering the jabs, that will be considered as consent by the parent. So if they do bring out that mandatory thing for under 12s, even though under 12s can't spread it, and even though under 12s don't have to wear a face grenade, they'll still probably try and jab them, because that's the agenda, is to reduce, to transmute the energy of the population of the planet, right? So having your children at school in those camps, in those military camps, will be considered as consent. So homeschools all the way, you know. Sarah says, in the ABC 1, 2, 3 from the agenda brainwashing of the Masons. Well, look, I don't know, but mathematics is a universal language, right? So is English. So, you know, I think languages and numbers are important to learn. They're not, you know, not necessary to survive, but, you know, mixed in with survival and other things, I think it's, you know, helpful to know those sorts of things, yeah. But, you know, if you're your parent, you've got your own right to, you know, teach your children whatever you want. Cindy says, take back sovereignty or become enslaved transhumans, subhuman. That's the choice we face. Yep, pretty much. Look, a lot of people are going to choose the transhumanism, and they're going to be happy with that. And, you know, that'll be interesting to watch and witness that experiment, you know, and see where it goes. So, you know, you're going to have the humans and then the transhumans, and, you know, maybe we came from, you know, DNA modification way back when anyway. Maybe someone came down and messed around with the DNA or something and created us, you know. Who knows? A long, long time ago. Long, long time ago. Yeah, exactly right, Diggsy. We can achieve anything as long as we have the confidence, and we can achieve anything. And it's, you know, people who come here, like, it won't be easy. And I'm still a bit cautious of having people here, because, you know, I've had many experiences in my past where people have tried to, you know, do things that aren't really honourable and that don't serve my greatest good. So I'm sort of pretty cautious about who I have here. So I want to have people here in sort of groups and stuff like that, because, you know, at least for the beginning. So we'll go from there. So perhaps this weekend we'll have a gathering and have a bit of a fire ceremony. And what's the date today? 25th, or tomorrow's the 26th. That's right. Tomorrow should be the full moon, so that's going to be massive. Hold on to your emotions or let them flow. Lots of things going to be coming up and feeling, so just allow that to happen. Don't act too rash. Don't do anything crazy. Just allow the full moon to have its way and have its effects, and you'll come out of it the next day. Mum says she's thinking a lot of people aren't playing the COVID game anymore. Yep, well, that's good to hear. And, the more people that wake up, the better. But there's going to be a new game this season. That'll just be... that game's just going to be the... that's the memory in people's mind as for all the reasons why they're doing what they're doing now and what they're going to be doing in the future. And then they're going to bring in climate change and all these things as reasons why you can't have this and you can't have that and you can't do this and you can't do that because of the climate, yeah. But I think this supply chain practice run shutdown and the power outages and stuff, that's going to be a real interesting one, because you can really, I think you can really change a lot in such a short amount of time if you just turn off the power, So that'll be interesting. Sarah says, Cindy says, humans are the new commodity. Check out human capital on the World Economic Forum's website. Yeah, humans have been the capital for a long time. That's what your birth certificate is. That's your slave bond. So now it's just going digital, I suppose. But time to create that new system, I guess, and only people who are willing to do the work are going to be able to do it, and yeah, it's going to be challenging, but it's going to be rewarding, and as long as it's good that you have people around that have done it before and who are going to be able to help, and they're going to be interesting times. Blood moon eclipse, wow, doesn't that just say it all? Blood moon eclipse. So yeah, only the strong will survive. Only it will be a big process of natural selection, and those who aren't willing or aren't able or aren't ready to do anything, well, if you're not able to do anything, well then obviously you've sort of lived your life, and that's great. And just enjoy the show while you can. Enjoy these biblical times we're living in. Because there's nothing like it really ever before. What do you reckon, Stone? What do you reckon? Huh? What do you reckon? So, Biodigital Convergence, see Canadian Government website. Thank you, Cindy. Biodigital Convergence, I haven't looked at that on the website. Yeah, it's raining here a little bit. It sounds a lot heavier than it is because of the tin on the roof, but it is raining enough, and water's starting to pile up, so apparently we're going to get a lot of rain this week, so we'll see. It may even be pretty wet on the weekend, so we'll keep updated. If you're thinking of coming, let us know, and we'll see what we can do. Otherwise, you can always just get yourselves ready, get all your warm stuff ready, and always make sure you've got your boot ready to go, and your half a tank of fuel, and you've got half a boot full of food and the other half full of warm stuff, yeah, to survive. So Cindy says you can even sleep in your cars. Made a bed in her car. How many times have I stayed at the Ark in it? A few times, yes. Remove the side seats, put a blank in there. Some cars just fold down. Yeah, that's right, Jace. Lots of people sleep in their cars. They come here and sleep in their car, or just set up a tent or whatever. So that's possible too. If you've got a nice beanie, two things you really want to keep warm is your head and your feet, because they're like the the conductors, right? Everything in between. But I find if you keep your feet warm and your head warm, then the rest of you is pretty good, right? Mostly speaking. But as soon as your head or your feet start to get cold, then the rest of you get cold. So they're like the transmitters, you know. Whereabouts are you, Sarah? Yep, it would be lovely to all come together and do it in harmony with nature and help each other to do it. There's going to be no option, I think. Well, there's always an option, but I think that'll be the best option. It's better than going to a FEMA camp or one of those quarantine facilities. Just remember, like, if they shut down the power supply and people need food, right, they're going to have to go to these quarantine facilities. And in order to get access to the quarantine facility, you're going to have to get a jab, right, because they're not going to allow people in there without a jab. So you're really going to figure out whether you want to get a jab and go into a quarantine facility, and then whatever happens, who knows. You can kind of figure that one out. Or whether you want to go and live off the grid and build a community of like-minded people who are willing to work together. So again, I've got 11.111 hectares of land here. It's not massive, but it's big enough, and it is what it is. Working on getting some more water and stuff. So yeah, it's beautiful when it rains here, Mum. Mum spent a lot of time, Mum spent a lot of time at the farm here before I did, She was, and I've got to give a lot of thanks and gratitude to Mum, because she organised the cabin. She's done more work here than probably I have almost, and she's, she's been a big player of getting the ark up and running and getting everything here. And she's lived off the grid, alone, at the ark, but, she's done it by herself, and I'll take my hat off to her. That's courageous, for any woman to live by herself in an off-grid cabin. And so if Mum can do it, and I can do it, anyone can do it, right? We can all do it. And I learned a lot of what I know from Mum, from her staying here. So blessed we are to have the people who came before us to share their knowledge and learning experiences and wisdom, and that's what it's about, right? Coming together. And having that understanding for... I remember Mum used to have a lot of patience and understanding for me when I'd come to the farm or to the ark, because it would get frustrating, not having those things right there and ready, and everything seemed to take a long time, and it can get frustrating. So it's good to have someone there who knows how frustrating it can be, and you have the psychological assistance as well as the physical assistance, and if we all come together, we can really make something beautiful. So I guess there's no time like the present, is there? How quickly do I think this would be coming about? Look, I don't know, Sarah. I think September is going to be a really big month for many reasons. So September, I think, is going to be a massive month. I think we're already starting to see the beginnings with Queensland, the power outages, and these are just test runs, right? Remember last year, a lot of people were having trouble with their phones and their internet. All these things are just sort of test runs, getting people ready. People may have power for a couple of hours a day. Like, who knows? That's what they do sometimes in war. They take away your power or your main source of power, and they just give it to you for a couple of hours a day, or whatever it might be. So, but people really need to start looking at getting their own power supplies, getting battery packs, solar panels, food, and warm stuff, and things that they can, like a caravan. If you've got money and you're thinking of coming here, like, get a caravan and come and have a look, and you can possibly leave it here. I've had people leave their caravans here because they come and go. So if you've got the finances to do it, maybe start planning in advance. They're You know, if you've got a van or something, you're even luckier, because you know you can turn that. There are a couple of there's an old caravan and an old van and stuff here, but you know, we'll see what happens with those. Yeah, it's a good time to start stocking up, Sarah, if you haven't already, or finding places you can put it. Beanie socks and nothing else. Croydon's in Melbourne, I think. Is that right? Croydon's near Melbourne. I don't know where Seville is. Tammy's asking if there's anyone from Adelaide on the live feed she can connect with. So yeah, if you want to connect with people, if you're in other states or whatever, ask as Tammy did. Good idea there, Tammy. And you know, you can all connect through the comments. Hayley's replied to her so they can connect. Dixie says, well done, Mum. Yeah, she does good. I give her a hard time most of the time, to keep her on her toes and keep her lively, but you know, she really does amazing stuff, and I'm forever grateful to me Mum, and I love her a lot. You know, as we do. Yeah, so maybe start building your Facebook community groups, you know, as well, in your own state, yeah. Like, I'm sure there are already existing survivalists and Facebook community groups on there. Maybe just find them. Off-grid living sites are really good ones to get onto, because they have all the hints and tips, and people sell things and buy things on there, and you might find communities on there. So, yeah. Yeah, caravans are a good idea. Probably a great idea to start investing in some caravans. I could even rent them out, you know. But people who start living here, they probably won't have money, so it won't be anything about renting. It'll just be everyone will be putting in and working and making food and growing food and doing whatever we can. We'll come up, Sarah, if we have this on the weekend, join us. You know, most gatherings I have up here is usually people that I've never met before, and usually people who have never met each other before. So most of the people who come here have never met each other before, and we've formed some really close bonds with some really amazing people. You know, so don't feel shy to come if you don't know anyone, because most people who come here I've never met, and most people who come here have never met each other. So it is a bunch of like-minded people literally just coming together, and that's how it rolls. So yeah, come and join us, and that's about it. Star is getting a bit funny. What are you doing, Star? Hey, come on, come up here. But yeah, it's always good to come up and get an idea of where the place is if you're thinking of helping create a community. And there's not much here, you know. You've got to understand there really isn't much here, you know. So it is what it is, and we just offer the land for people to come and live, and whatever it is that we have. But it's really available to people who are willing to contribute and assist, and actually want to put in. There is a light to all this darkness. So send us a message if you want to come up this weekend, and write gathering at the front of it. Like, I've had a couple of messages come in. I still haven't checked them, but I've seen them coming up. I know they're there, and I will get on and have a look at them. So we might look at doing something Saturday and Sunday, you know, and we'll go from there. So I'll do another video on that. Stay tuned. Keep watching. Please share. And many blessings from me and Star and Dusty at the Ark here. Say goodbye. Say goodbye, Star. You want to say goodbye? Pause. And we'll talk soon.